The topic this evening that Yaniv gave me is who's the boss? I said, what do you want me to talk about? He says, talk about technology. I said, what? He says, you know how people aren't boss, they're not their own boss, that the technology is taking them over. So I can't say it for anybody else. I never liked those kind of shiurim. Because, you know, it would be nice to a certain extent if we could turn back the clock. I remember there was somebody who wrote years ago, you know, I don't know how many people, I don't think anybody here is old enough to remember the era of radio. There was only the radio. There was no TV. The good old days, remember? And the family would sit around and watch the radio. And now, from the exciting times of yesteryear, the Lone Ranger, and and you'd listen to these adventures and excitements, and it just, he says, if they had first invented the television and then invented the radio, they would have said, thank goodness somebody finally figured out a way to get rid of the picture. Yeah? If you like to read, then you know how much fun it is when you read and you let your imagination fill in the blanks, right? When you watch something, your participation has decreased dramatically, right? If you want an example of this, find here and there were a few kids who had read this book series called Harry Potter. And let's put it this way, she wrote the first book on napkins in a luncheonette because she lived in this unheated flat where she would just go and sit in the luncheonette because it had heat, and she wrote the first Harry Potter book. The last one she wrote in her castle. So evidently she sold quite a few books, yeah? But you know, when the movies came out, the people who were into the books were so upset. They were like upset, you know? They changed this, they changed that. That's not how it happened. They left out this character. They did this, they did that, when they made movies out of The Lord of the Rings, 3 movies. And then out of The Hobbit, they made 3 movies out of that. They had it kind of backwards. That was 1 book, this was 3. But when they made 3 movies out of it, and people watched it, people who were real token fans, they were like, oh, they left out this, left out that. So someone was complaining to me, and I said, don't you understand? He wrote 10,000 years of backstory before he started the story. How much do you think you're going to fit into a film? You know what I mean? When you read, you have a lot more room. You can develop more characters, more ideas. Yeah? When you watch something, you are completely limited. It is completely passive. In the old days, when you could go to watch a TV show or a movie, and you didn't have to worry about anything inappropriate. No double entendres, no inappropriate lines, very straightforward. I Love Lucy. Yeah? I Love Lucy. Where they were never allowed. There was never one bed in the room, the twin beds in the TV show. The first TV show where there was one bed in the room was the Brady Bunch. I've got so much worthless information, it's just unbelievable. I once had a Rabbi who said, oh, Orlofsky, if only you could use your mind for good instead of evil, imagine what you could have accomplished, But I say it's different. It's like it says in Pirkei Avos, there's different types of students. One is called the mishmeres, that all the wine drips out and they're just left with the dregs, you know what I mean? So I remember all this nonsense, it's not a problem. But, when it was somewhat wholesome, and the jokes were straightforward, and they were funny, and it wasn't going to be anything inappropriate. Even then, there were people who opposed it. Gedolei Torah who opposed watching TV because it's so passive. You just sit there, and it just hits you. You just take it in. You just absorb it. Yeah. There is the yeshiva. I don't know if he wants to publicize that, but the yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, where they'll work with a guy with any problem they have. If a guy is, involved with girls, if a guy is involved with, he drinks, if a guy is, he doesn't get up in the morning, whatever it is, they'll work with every problem. There's only one rule they have. You're not allowed to have anything that gets the internet. Nothing. He says, for that, we throw you out. Everything else we'll put up with. I said to him, why is that your one rule? And he said, because in our generation, people don't have a taiva to go and do bad things. People have a taiva to just sit at the computer all day and watch. You know, you watch people walk across the street. I don't know about anybody else here. Have you almost hit somebody because they're walking across the street like this, watching their phone? Now that might not have happened to you because you were busy texting while you were driving, but assuming that, you know, you're really paying attention, you know, I go out to eat with my wife and I see at every table, two people are talking to other people on their phones. What a beautiful moment that is. Everybody's calling somebody else, you know. In the meantime, we were waiting for the waitress, but she was calling, you know, somebody else on her phone. I got her number. I called her. Hi, table 6. You think you get over here? You know? Can we give you an order? I'd be okay. You know. You know how we so are enslaved to this? It was before Yontif. I was waiting in line at a butcher in Yerushalayim, and the phone keeps ringing. The phone keeps ringing. And there's a million people in the store, and every time the phone rings, he takes an order. And there are people sitting there waiting in line. So I finally went outside and I called in my order from the payphone outside of the butcher. And they immediately picked up. I gave them my order. I said, how long will it be ready? I said, no problem. I got back online. When I got there, it was all set, you know, because somehow a phone call is more important than a person. Now, I'm going back to the old days. Yeah, the old days is the only phone belonged to the phone company, and it was wired into the wall, and that was it. And there was no answering machines, and there was no caller ID. There was no way to know who anybody was, you know. And I'd be talking to somebody, and the phone would start ringing, and people would go, "It's the phone." Like somehow that has some mystical characteristic. It's the phone. Oh. So you have to stop everything and answer the phone, you know. I remember, if you remember from that time, you know, the phone would ring and everybody started screaming, get the phone, because you missed the phone call, you know. And you start running, trying to find the phone, you know, you picked it up, it's gone. So now you call everybody you know. Hi, did you call me? Oh, okay. Oh, hi, did you call me? You know, no way to know who called you, you know. It was totally gone, you know. Unless the FBI, you know, like put a tap on your line. There's no way to know, you know. I didn't keep track of where the phone call came in. And I'm talking to somebody, and they go, it's the phone. And I said, yeah. So aren't you going to answer it? I said, I'm sitting here talking to an actual human being, you know, and I should stop that in order to answer a phone call? I can't speak for anybody here, right? But I have been in Minyanim, where during Shmona Esrei, you hear the cell phones go off. Okay, it's disturbing. That's not so disturbing. What's disturbing is when the guy pulls out the phone. See who it is. I'm sorry, God, it might be an important call. You understand? I'm sitting here talking to God, and it might be somebody here more important. That's not the worst part. The worst part is when it is more important. And in the middle of Shmona Esrei, a guy goes, you know, and whatever it is, he's having a conversation. Because the phone rang, you know. I was with somebody, they were like, the phone's ringing, you know, aren't you going to get it? I said, who do you think? It's the president? The president's calling me up for advice. Maybe it's the prime minister, you know. Maybe it's a major surgeon coming to ask me advice on life or death issue. I said, trust me, whoever's calling me can wait, you know. How many phone calls have I ever gotten in my life that were like dire phone calls? But people just can't stop. And people are on their phones constantly texting and talking, and, you know, and that's it. You just see tops of heads, you know. And people on the, I just wrote a piece on this. You can check it out on my Facebook page, Rabbi Orlofsky. But I've been getting such terrible pressure to post, you know, stuff on Facebook. So I finally opened up a Facebook page. Anyway, so now I'm part of the problem instead of part of the solution. Read about the evils of the internet on my Facebook page. You can go take a look at it. You know, we become obsessed. So they did a study worldwide, not Jewish students, 1,000 students across the world. And they took them off from all of their technology, and they experienced the same withdrawal symptoms as a person going off heroin and cocaine. That's the level of addiction. That's why they have this term, which I read about a few years back, called half Shabbos. Half Shabbos, so people keep Shabbos, but they text. They can't stop. They can't stop. They're addicted. They're addicted, you know? These are people who get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and check their email, just to make sure, you know what I mean? See if there's anything going on, you know? People are so addicted to this stuff, you just can't even believe it, you know? And that's the sad part. This girl says to her friend, you know, goes, I haven't seen you anywhere, you know, in any of the chat rooms, anything like that. She says, I got rid of my Facebook, I got rid of my Twitter account, I got rid of my email, I got off everything. She says, well, then what do you do? She says, what do I do? What do you mean? Now I finally have a life. She says, can I use it in Candy Crush? Because what else do you need a life for? You understand? Only to use it in Candy Crush, you know. But you know, we just get stuck on stuff. So what's the practical? This is where my wife always says to me. So what's the practical application? I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. I can tell you that, you know, a person can take a look and see who's the boss. Am I in control of myself and my technologies? Does my technology serve me, or do I serve it? Yeah? When that phone rings, do I have to answer it? And I say, even you can see in Tefillah, you see people answer it. You see people who just can't, you know, turn off the computer. They can't get away from it. It's with them all the time. Now you can get a computer on your watch. You can get a computer everywhere. You never have to be disconnected, you know. I know that it makes us better people. Studies have been done. I read in Psychology Today different studies that were done on how technology is destroying marriages. It was a cover story in Psychology Today a few months ago. Yeah, that the technology gets in between the relationship, gets in between the marriage. People are in their, you know, their stuff, you know. And you see four friends sitting around, everyone's on their phone, nobody's talking to anybody. There's you know, because now we have more and more ways of communicating. We just do it less, you know. We're sending out all kinds of stuff. You know, I don't have personal Facebook, you know, but every now and then I used to get these requests in my email. Somebody wants you to be their friend. So I'd be like, oh, great, so have them give me a call and we'll have a cup of coffee, you know what I mean? No, they want to add you to their list of friends on Facebook so you can look at their personal pictures. I said, I have enough friends like that already, you know what I mean? I said, you want to be my friend? A friend who says to me, yeah, quick, take a look at my picture, here I was, you know, like, you know, here's a selfie, you know, I said, oh, that's great, you know? But that's a friend, you know? Person says, oh, I have 400 friends, you know? I say, you're doing a lot better than me, you know? If a person has 2 or 3 friends, they have to really count themselves very lucky in this world, you know? And the more that we do not have control of ourselves and the world around us, then the less we're able to become real people. Instead, we don't have that gvura. Yeah? That's why it says in Pirkei Avos, shmonim legvura. Says the Mefarshim, at 80 you have gevura. Why? Because you don't have the same desires that you had as a younger person. You know, I can tell you this: that the older you get, the list of things you can enjoy in this world physically becomes smaller and smaller. You know, the list of foods that you can no longer digest gets longer and longer. You know, and yes, it forces you to face more about spirituality and relationships. You know. And so this is, as he said, the big taiva of our generation. The taiva of our generation is not to go out and, you know, do kinds of bad things. Just sit at the computer and watch movies, watch TV shows, watch, and people are following them. And it's not like we're used to, that's it, this show comes on 8 o'clock on Tuesday. If you missed it, you missed it, you know. Now you can watch it on the computer anytime you want. There's a million sites. You can see it all the time. You can just sit there and watch stuff all day. Never have to do anything. Just came in on a flight from Eretz, and people sit there the whole flight just watching movie after. That's how they pass the time. Movie after movie after movie. So that's the idea. Am I advocating a technology-free world? That's definitely not what I'm saying. Yeah, I definitely don't want to, no question about it. Now, if you use Waze to find out where you're going, I'm old enough that I could still write down on pencil and paper, where I'm going and follow those instructions, but I certainly won't know where the traffic is unless you listen to the traffic reports, and even then that's not always up to date, So yeah, technology can help you in a lot of different ways. And the question is it there to serve us, or has it started to take us over? Ezu Gibor Kovash Yitzro, who's strong? Somebody who's in control of themselves. And the more that we take control of our lives, then ultimately the happier we're going to be. Thank you very much.